The rain in Spain stays mainly in the...
Step by step through the sun and rain, over mountains, across the plains. WCBH is on the go. Join us as we walk the Camino.
Day 33, 20 kilometres today from Astorga to Rabanal. Astorga's up there with one of the most beautiful towns that we've been to.
Definitely.
Very much a stone village. Lots of significance there with Gaudi. Roman significance there.
Old Roman town, a couple of metres underneath the existing town.
And we had a lovely attic apartment just off the main square, and there was another procession, or a couple of processions last night as part of the Easter tradition. What's happening with the weather? This morning when we got up, it was quite cool. Yes. We're in the back end of our walk today, and it's quite warm now, isn't it?
It is. I checked the temperature before we walked and it said 1 degree. By the time we got out, I think it warmed up a little, like 2 or 3 degrees. And now I think it's sitting maybe between like 17, 20 degrees.
It is good walking weather for us. Just think if we were walking this in the Spanish summer, how much hotter it could be. Like, the temperatures get up to around 40 degrees, don't they?
They do, and with what we're walking on, the heat would just be radiated by the rocks, which would make it even more intense. And the last stretches you do, which can be 7 or 8 kilometres, you'd want to make sure that you had a lot of water.
And we're from the tropics, and we're thinking that it could get hot in the summer. Imagine if you come from a colder climate. That's where you hear those nightmare stories about the meseta, isn't it?
It is. You hear about 40 degrees, people running out of water, some people collapsing, people just not used to the climate. I think back to our time on the meseta with the Welsh girl we met, and she was saying she was really hot, and we were all rubbed up, and I think it was like 7 degrees or something like that.
We've been quite fortunate with the water because we've each got a bottle. On the odd occasion we might carry one extra bottle. In between stops we've been able to have at cafes, and not all of them have been open. Not all villages have had a cafe. And then you don't drink the local water, I do. But I've been able to fill up at various towns at the public tap as well. But we've been fine with the water, haven't we?
We have. Water's, I think being from the tropics helps. We're used to higher temperatures. I'm not saying we're not drinking water, but people who find this really hot would be struggling. They'd just be consuming a lot of water. Yeah,
yes and no. I drink a lot of water in the tropics, and so I'm quite accustomed to drinking a lot of water. So I think I've had to adjust down about getting through the day with only drinking X number of water. And on the flip side, what I'm finding I'm doing at night, if there's a radiator, if there's a heater, we've got that on, we've got all the doonas on the bed, and so I'm usually waking up during the middle of the night going, wow, I'm a bit dehydrated. So I find the morning, first thing I need to do is I need to hydrate. And the one morning that I really, was probably the worst I felt waking up was the morning of day 3 when we were leaving Roncesvalles. I felt seriously dehydrated and had a big headache there. But other than that, not too bad. But during the middle of the night, I'm finding, get up and drink some water to hydrate, so I don't end up with one of these big headaches in the morning. Now we've just passed the away marker that says 246 kilometres to go. Mm-hmm. This morning we were talking about how we were feeling about us getting closer to the end. It's a bit of a mixed emotion feeling, isn't it?
It is. it's bittersweet. Like, obviously the point is it's pilgrimage to Santiago, and we want to get there, but once we get there, you know, the simplicity of getting up and walking disappears. And we were just talking about how nice it was, like, to be able to stop and have lunch, sitting on the edge of the pine forest, looking at the mountains, listening to the sound of the wind and the birds, and nothing else, and no one to disturb you or anything. It was so peaceful, but at the same time, not having to get up early, pack the bag, and get on the trail. Be nice to have some sleep-ins and just some rest and relaxation.
Yeah, I go in between of I'm getting sad because we're getting to the end, and so something that we've looked forward to for a long period of time will come to an end in the next 2 weeks. And then the other part of me feels like I just want to get it done.
Yes.
As well. So yeah, I sort of sway between the two. Sad that it's going to come to an end, and just wanting to get it done. I can see why people then get attracted to getting to Santiago and going just a little bit further and then heading out to Finisterre and Muxia.
Yes.
Any thoughts on wanting to do that?
No, not at this stage. I would like to get to Santiago. I'm kind of missing the group of people we walked with for about 2 weeks. I'm thinking they're ahead of us, so it'd be nice to maybe see them in Santiago. I'm missing a bit of that, but I don't know. I might get to Santiago and be like, I'm done, or I might be like, let's walk some more.
It's April the 1st today, so I'm not talking April Fool's Day, I'm talking the start of the official season. We've noticed a few more places opened up. In fact, that last little village that we went through, we just sat and had a chat with some people at an albergue bar, and that's their first day open.
Yes, that was El Ganzo, and the couple we were talking to were saying it's the start of the season, and so there's a whole group of albergues that have opened up. I'll have to excuse the huffing and puffing, we're going up a hill.
Yeah, we're much fitter than we were at the start. We've had a few hills the last 2 days, but I must say we haven't had those absolute breakers that we had in those opening couple of days.
No, we haven't, but we have one of those coming up tomorrow.
Do we?
Yes, so tomorrow is where we ascend to the Iron Cross, which is significant on the Camino. We climb to 1,500 metres. We're already starting at...
So we're not starting at zero, we're already a fair way up.
We're already a fair way up, but I think it goes to like 9 kilometres, the actual climb, and at the top is the Iron Cross where you place your rock or an item.
So the item or the rock or the shell or the something, many people bring something from home to leave at the site, and it doesn't have to be an item of significance. It might just be like a small rock, a pebble that you've brought from home, but it's symbolic, isn't it?
Yes, it is. So could be something you're letting go, placing your burdens there, or just something out of remembrance.
Sure. Something you're praying for.
Yeah, and I've read that some people do the whole turn around and throw the pebble over their shoulder and then continue on.
We got a really cool wax stamp today. Like we've mentioned the stamps that you collect each day at your accommodation or at bars and cafes, but we stopped at, it was an Italian guy just on the side of the path, and he had a whole kit there, and so it's our second wax stamp. But this is, you could choose the type of stamp you wanted. He mixed it up beautifully with some coloured wax and then finished it off by colouring in with marker pens, like a paint pen, I don't know, it's just something so small, but it feels very special.
It does. He had a huge array of stamps there that you could choose from. And when I saw it, I thought, oh, this is something special to put in our credential and remember when we were walking along this stretch. Gee, this hill's not giving up.
I'm starting actually to feel sweaty.
This is actually part of the start of the climb. So the place we're staying tonight is on part of the hill, or what I like to call the mini mountains we climb. So we're already starting part of it to the Iron Cross.
So you feel that once we get back to Darwin, you'll be ready to do a city to surf?
No, I'm not committing to that. It's still too early in the morning.
All right, well, less than 2 kilometres until we get into Rabanal. Less than 2 weeks until we make it to Santiago. We expect the last 5 or 6 days, once we reach Saria, that's where our next and last rest day will be. We imagine that the journey in from there is, I think it's going to be really a different experience. One, we've walked that path before, but two, I'm expecting big numbers because we're post April 1 by then.
Yes, I think it'll be a little bit like when we left Leon. There was like a string of pilgrims on the trail, and there were people we'd never seen before with new kit, very clean clothes.
Well, I'm actually thinking there'll be even more people than that.
Yes.
And I'm actually looking forward to it because it'll be different. It'll be something different. It'll be something new. Like there's been times early on where there's us and you might come across a few people across the day. We've got this section now where you feel there's people in front, people behind. But I think the last 5 or 6 days in, it's going to have a very different feel, and I'm actually looking really forward to it.
I actually like it when we know there's pilgrims in front of us and behind, but they're not too close. You can have your own space. I'm hoping Saria is not too busy.
I think that's probably the difference in our personalities of introverted and our extroverted.
Yes.
All right, well, that's been day 33. We'll be back day 34 for, guess what? Another 20 kilometres.
The rain in Spain stays mainly in the...
Step by step through the sun and rain, over mountains, across the plains. WCBH is on the go. Join us as we walk the Camino.